Boy, have I got one for the fantasy loving bookworms today. What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Today on the Nerdy Narrative, Betty Trask award-winning author W.P. Wiles is back with a multi-POV epic fantasy tale, The Last Blade Priest. This book was packed full with adventure, top-notch world building, several familiar tropes, but they each had their own unique twist to it that I absolutely loved. I want more of. And the goal to get more of this world is to get you guys to read this book so that we can make sure he turns it into a series. Because when I tell you guys that I read the last page, I turned to my husband Chris and I was like, if this does not get a sequel, I am going on a rampage. I loved this world. The characters were fantastic. I'm a character-driven reader, but for me, what's shown here was the world, its history, its religion. But those are things that I learned that I love as I read this book. What made me pick up this book? Now, I did request the advanced reader copy from Angry Robot Books, but that's because I read the blurb about this book and there was that one line. There always seems to be one particular line that grabs my attention in a book description that makes me want to read it. For The Last Blade Priest, that line was, "Whatever you do, beware the elves." And I thought, ooh, the elves are not good in this one? I must read this because I believe everything I've read to date, the elves have been a good race, which is fine. I like that. But I was intrigued by some possible evil elves and I thought, I need to read this. That's what I focused on. But there was more to this than just evil elves. We had a magical mountain, Kraith. There was a whole religion that was based on the worship of this mountain by these priests and all of the different tribes or families of people that lived along this mountain range in this world. And the custodians of this faith, they were these large avian demigods. I always pictured them as crows for whatever reason. That could be because they required human sacrifice. Until shockingly, they commanded that human sacrifice stop, which was a huge sigh of relief to one of our POVs that we meet in this story, Anton. More on him later. In addition to the magical mountain and the demigods, we also had a kingdom on the brink of religious war yet again. Necromancy. I mean, there was a whole lot to love in this book, and I loved every bit of it. And then, as I mentioned, Anton was one of our POVs. The other point of view that we got the story from, Anar was a master builder who belonged to one of the tribes that populated the area along that mountain range that I mentioned earlier. Anar was our moving piece of this story. He was drafted by his king's chancellor to go and work with the League, basically to spy on them. And the reason why I think Anar was chosen is his family had fallen from grace. His father and brother were executed as being traitors to the crown. And so when the League came and requested help, the chancellor decides to make Anar go and become a spy because Anar can't say no. He's trying to find favor once again for his family. The tribes in this area do not like the League because the League conquered them and is now ruling them, so to speak. My favorite character is actually not one of our two main POVs, but a secondary or tertiary character named Lot. Lot is an apprentice of Anar and he is sent to accompany Anar on this quest with the League, and Lot is hilarious. Lot and Anar, no, they cannot fight the League. There's too many of them. There's nothing they can do. So Lot has decided he is going to exact aggravation tax, such as eating them out of house and home, things like that. I just got so many laughs out of Lot. He was such an excellent addition to the story to provide comedic relief just where it was needed. As much as I loved Lot, and as much as I grew to love Anar, if I lived in this little grim dark world, I would be a leaguer because they loved coffee. Anar and Lot thought it was nasty. And they made all these observations about how the League people just couldn't get up and break camp until they all had their bitter tasting black vile drink, and I was rolling because I'm the same way. Our other point of view is Anton. Anton was a stationary cog in this story. He is a blade priest who resides in the fortress outside of the mountain that they worship. And a blade priest is one who gives the gift, meaning human sacrifice, for the demigods to eat. Anton did not choose this path. He was raised into it as a child. And when the demigods, who were called the custodians, when they made the announcement that human sacrifice was at an end, Anton was so relieved, because even though he had been raised to this profession, it was not what he wanted to do. He did not want to kill. And while Anton did remain stationary, we got a lot of the history of this land from him. We learned all about the religion from him. I got to see the political machinations between the priest and the king, the League, and then the evil elves. They're the big bad that are threatening, and they were frightening, guys. They were absolutely frightening. And this was one of those examples of something the author did. He took a commonly seen trope and he twisted it and he made it dark. And now you can probably understand why I didn't get enough. I need more to this story. While it got an ending and it could absolutely function as a standalone and be perfectly fine, he left some room to add to that tapestry that he weaved when he started this story and created this world. From someone who is very much a character-driven reader, while I thoroughly enjoyed following Anar's character development and growth, and Anton remaining steadfast in what he believed, for me it was the world building and the history and the threat of what is to come that I want more of. This book is for grimdark fantasy fans. It is for those of you who love world building and history. It was just so well written. I could visualize this world as characters. I could see its buildings. I could see the horrors that the elves visited upon those that they kept. Guys, I loved this book. Please pick it up. It is out today from Angry Robot Books. I do know some of you have told me previously when I mentioned reading it that you had it pre-ordered. Please let me know what you think of this story. Once you have read this book, please consider leaving a review. I need to have a follow-up. I need this to turn into a series. I need a sequel, a collection of short stories. I need something more. I'm not ready to leave this world, and I want you to join me exploring the world of The Last Blade Priest by W.P. Wiles. Thank you so much for being here today to listen to me gush about this phenomenal fantasy story. I hope you give it a shot. If you're not sure, grab a copy from your library and give it a whirl. As always, if you need someone to talk about it as you read it, all of my contact information can be found in the description below. Thanks again for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.